Are you that person that wants to be known to work with your hands, do a hard day's work? Go enlisted, don't go officer. We're going to talk more about that. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another video. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions. But as always, let's roll right into the topic. Now, I want to make sure that I talk about something that's important. A lot of people are asking me like, Nikki, I have a bachelor's degree, but I don't want to go officer because I want to know what it's like to do the lower end jobs, work with my hands and do all that. And I'm here to debunk a lot of the myths that you hear. I feel like a lot of old timers say that. Okay, boomer. I'm just going to say that, but let's get to it. Obviously, I think that perception can come across as you see a lot of officers that are bigwigs, admirals, generals, all that on TV. You see what they do in movies. So that is what people assume. But I'm going to cover a lot of aspects to why I think that's not very true and why I'm going to say it's pretty much the same thing in the enlisted side as it is on the officer side. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is when you're a junior officer, a little baby 01 ensign, fresh out of the academy, fresh out of ROTC, fresh out of, whatever you were at before, I'm telling you, you are going to work alongside junior enlisted people. You're going to work with your chief. You're going to be more hands-on, involved on the daily task. You're not making huge changes in the Navy as an officer. Yes, there's less officers than there are enlisted, but I think that has to be understood that when you're first doing this, you're going to have a lot of hands-on work because you should understand what your people around you that you're leading are doing, or you should have some idea of that, okay? So the first things first, you will work alongside these people. So realistically, your first few years, you will be there. Next off, don't think you're going to be barking orders the second you hop into this leadership position, because a lot of people that are like, I don't think I'm ready to lead yet. I'm like, listen here, man. Relax. I get it. It might sound stressful that you might be a leader, but even on this side, you're going to be a leader at some point. But what I want to say is they're going to test you. Like, they're not going to have you in charge of the entire ship as the captain your first day on the job and you're freaking out. No, there's baby steps and progression in your career that are going to help make you successful and succeed later on. You may be overwhelmed at times, but I'm going to say usually it's not to the point where you are going to be not ready for it. It should be something you should be ready for. Also, I want to talk about the timeline. So a lot of people, they're like, man, you jump in and you're going to be admin right away as an officer. And if maybe not that, you're going to be an admin person within the first so many years. I'm like, whoa, chill your brakes. It's about the same thing for enlisted, okay? Let's take my example. As E5, E6, I did more administrative work than I actually did hands-on job stuff. And that was at 5 years till now at 11 years. I'm an IDC, so I do some more hands-on work than most other first classes that are in the job of corpsman. But what I mean is you have 2 years as an 01, 2 years as an 02. Then you get up to your 03 level, and then you have several years before you're even going to be looked at for 04. You're talking about almost 10 years of service, a little bit over that, before you are actually going to be looked at for 04, where that's definitely more administrative than what you're doing at the 03 level. 03, I would say, is where you're starting that stuff from my experience. Obviously, it increases as you move up in rank, but again, if you're looking at my career progression, how much administrative work I've done, it's very similar as far as how much an enlisted person and an officer person is doing. I want to also say this entire thing. It's part of the job. Everything you do in the military is on a computer. We have computers everywhere. Everything's on printed paper. There's administrative stuff everywhere you go. If you come to medical, I have to document it. If you do maintenance on a ship, you got to document it. If you're going to order parts for the ship in your supply, you have to document it. Oh, you're going to be a cook. You have to document all the storage stuff that you have. There's administrative stuff everywhere in the military. So if you think it's just, specific to administrative jobs like yeoman or something like that in the military, or maybe an awards person or whatever else, it's just everywhere. It's not just set in stone in one job. The next part I want to talk about are people that want to work with their hands, okay? And as a young person, early 20s, awesome. I'm glad there's hard workers out there. I appreciate you guys wanting to put in good hours of work, but I have to tell you this. You do not get better or move up in progression anywhere you go by just working very hard with your hands. It's very few and far between that you're going to find a job that does that. And what I mean by this is you have to increase the value of your brain or your experience of what you did working with your hands. That way you can make more money. There are a lot of hardworking people in the Navy, the Marines, the Army, Air Force, wherever. There's hardworking people in all these branches, but you need to start looking at how to make your time more valuable so you're making more money. Okay, so a lot of people are like, I'm not scared of hard work. And I appreciate it. I get it. But you cannot sit there and tell me that you're going to work hard for forever, because your body will take a toll. If you look at older people, they're looking for administrative jobs. They're looking for leadership positions because those are the jobs that they're not hard on their body, and they can use their experience to run programs, to manage people, to run companies. Those are the experiences you should be striving for because they pay more. And I know a lot of you guys are young and maybe don't have kids or family or whatever else yet, but eventually you making money is going to matter way more than just taking care of yourself. And also, no one cares that you work hard with your hands, because I'll tell you this, it's laughable. You can look at jobs in the military. I'll say the Navy phrase, choose your rate, choose your fate. It doesn't matter if you're an E3 as far as a YN, like a yeoman administrative person, or you're a BM bosun's mate slaving away at the deck department, or you're a maintainer. The contrast between the admin job and the other person, way different quality of life. You still get the same pay, still get the same benefits. So no one's really caring that you work with your hands, other than that's an ego thing to say that you worked really hard. I'm not trying to say it's bad to work hard. I'm just trying to say, like, I want you guys to think about this in a fair and appropriate analytical way, and not just sitting there saying, I want to work hard. And the last thing I want to talk about is quality of life as an officer. So it's much better than enlisted. You have to look at the chow lines for officers in their wardroom versus the enlisted line. Enlisted are waiting a lot longer to get food. Also, officers are going to get other types of food as well. I'll give you one example on my ship. A1 sauce. Sounds really dumb, but when we had steak and lobster, enlisted didn't have A1 sauce, but the officers did. So it's dumb, but when you haven't had good food in a long time, the A1 sauce is like freaking gold. Or, I mean, I'm sure someone else can comment about this, about something that they've experienced. Oh, and on top of that, the officers on my ship actually had their laundry taken from their rooms and washed and brought back to them. Enlisted, I never got my clothes washed and brought back to me personally like that. So I'm just saying, we are fighting for washers and dryers. And I want you guys to look at your opportunity now. If you're that person with a degree, do you want to be unmatched with the appropriate job? Would you go out into the civilian world and say, I want a less paying job because they work harder? That doesn't really make sense, because if you get a degree in something, you should get a job which matches your degree, that appropriately suits your skill level and all this other stuff. So you want these things to be appropriately matched as much as possible. So again, I'm a guy with over a decade experience in the military. I'm just talking from my experience. If you guys have had a different one, definitely go for it. There are options to go officer from enlisted. Is it hard? Yes, because you are going to be evaluated not only on your grades, your degree, your experience in the military, how well you performed, your letters of recommendation. It can be very competitive in the military going from enlisted officer. And a lot of you guys are like, Nikki, why aren't you an officer yet? I'm like, I'm trying, man. But these things, there's a lot to cross off. So all right, so I think that covered most of the topics I want to talk about with this video. I'll probably think of more even afterwards. And if I forgot one, let me know. I probably did. And I think a lot of you guys have experiences that have already been in, veterans, people that are currently active, some people that are brand new to the military. Let me know your experiences down below and what you think about this subject as well. But if you do have questions about anything, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.